material. I didn't think you were a rioting kind of crowd. I didn't think you were a riot demographic. You look more like a read about riots with increasing concern in the Guardian demographic. But no, it's fascinating to me, man, because I'm not from here, and the reason I decided to write some jokes about the riots is because I couldn't really have any conversations with people. I had some very, very awkward interactions with people over the last 2 weeks where I tried to talk to them about the riots. They usually started with me saying things like, "Hey, how about those riots? About time, if you ask me. Know what I'm saying? Am I right?" Please take my flyer, please. I'm sorry, you're bad people. I can do it. 2 for 1 Monday, please. You can't have people very set in their ways about the riots, right? There's no middle ground, right? Because we're cleaning up England now. And if you're not cleaning up England, you must have been smashing up England. Were you smashing up England? No. Just looking for a middle ground. Can we talk about why England needs to be cleaned up in the first place? No. There's only 2 options. You tick a box. You're with us or you're with the rioters. They hate our way of life and they hate our freedoms. And we need to crush them. They're not terrorists, man. They're not terrorists, they're kids. We were all kids. You remember what it was like to be young, get caught up in something. You go to a house party, you invite your friends invite their friends invite their friends, things get out of hand, the police turn up, you start making makeshift explosives and petrol bombs, everyone's been there. It's a part of growing up, it's part of being young. And the media, man, it didn't take long for the media to start recycling the same stuff again and again. How many times did you read this story? Oh, these young men are uneducated. They've been brought up on a steady diet of chauvinism and misogyny. They have no way to articulate their masculinity except through violence. They have no family, so they form these gangs. And they need identity, so they wear matching gang colors. I was like, all right, we get it. But enough about the police, please. Can you give us some facts? I found out about the riots from my mom, actually. She rang me first thing in the morning. And she was like, I heard about these riots on TV. They're affecting you, in trouble. I was like, Mom, I'm in Scotland. I'm not just in Scotland, I'm in Edinburgh. Okay, this is a place populated largely by middle-class white people with a lot of disposable income and an endless supply of mindless activities. Nothing is going wrong in this town. Not only is it the biggest arts festival in the world, there is a vintage shop every 2 meters. This is what white people dream heaven is like. Nothing is going wrong here. Don't worry about me, I'm safe. And I feel bad. I do feel bad for like small businesses that got attacked. I don't think that was cool. I don't condone it at all. And some of the footage was quite shocking, right? Because you just see like these masses, just these faceless hordes just trying to claw their way into people's shops, and the people had to defend themselves with nothing but like baseball bats and knives. And part of me was like, man, this is messed up. I don't even know if I can watch this. But then another part of me was like, yeah, it is messed up, but you have to admit, it does have all the essential elements of a fantastic zombie film. So I just turned down the volume and kept watching. And just between you and me, I was quite disappointed when the zombies did not attack Buckingham Palace. I thought that would have been a nice way to end. And the government thinks these kids are disgusting. This behavior is disgusting. They're just individuals. They have no sense of community. They're just on some nihilist path towards immediate gratification and pursuing petty materialist trinkets. What do you even call this? Capitalism. You were a big fan of it. Now it's not working out for you. What happened? It's hard. The government's having a lot of trouble communicating with young people because they're sending a lot of mixed messages, right? A lot of mixed messages. Because the government's like, no, you can't do this. This is immoral. You can't just loot stuff and take things because you want it. You can't use violence just to get stuff. You can't destroy people's lives just because you have a sense of entitlement. Okay, sorry, back up. Unless you're looting oil. And instead of baseball bats, you're using depleted plutonium and cluster bombs, and the only people whose lives you're ruining are Arabs. In that case, game on. In fact, if that is the case, come and see us. We might actually be able to arrange some low-wage jobs for you. So we can do something for you. And it's quite hypocritical. If you're involved in a war, to lecture people about morality. I think it really is the pot calling the kettle black, or as I like to put it, the ruling class calling the proletariat scumbags. And we heard a lot about the fabric of society. The fabric of society is getting damaged. We need to fix the fabric of society. We learned something about the fabric of society in these last couple of weeks, didn't we? It wasn't the very silky smooth Egyptian cotton we were led to believe it was. No, it was a much nastier synthetic nylon polyester blend. Easy to tear, highly uncomfortable, and extremely, extremely flammable. But I got a haircut yesterday, and I promise I'm not making this up. I'm absolutely not making this up. I got a haircut yesterday, and I was getting my haircut. The lady said, so hey, where are you from? And I said, well, you know, my parents are Bangladeshi, but I was born in the Middle East, and I moved between the Middle East and Australia for my whole life. And she said, oh, the Middle East. Has that quietened down over there? And because that's a complex answer that would take several hours, I said, yeah, I think so. It was rowdy for a minute. It was rowdy for a minute, but I think it's totally chilled out. And then I tried to be clever. I was like, you know what? It looks like the trouble's actually over here. And then she thought about it, and she said 4 of my favorite words. I'm not racist, but it is the Asians and the blacks, and they're not really giving themselves a good name, are they? The Asians and the blacks. And my immediate thought was, did I forget to wear my skin today? How is this lady so comfortable telling me about her ideas about how Asians behave when I'm clearly sitting right in front of her, behaving like a bit of an Asian myself? Ordinarily I'd get upset, right? But in my head I was thinking, lady, you got no idea. I'm going to be doing Zaltzman show tomorrow night. And there's going to be a room full of people who will be appalled by your opinions. You guys would never say something like that, right? Not out loud, anyway. I can't stop the thoughts, I know. And so some terrible things did happen in the riots though, right? Like, these 3 South Asian men got killed. They got hit by a car driven by a looter. Allegedly he was black. And one of the fathers of the guys who died, he made a very moving statement. He said, we don't want any more violence, we don't want any more retribution, we want things to go back to normal. But regardless, in the wake of the riots now, people are worried there's all this escalating ethnic tension, and sooner or later, poor black people and poor brown people are going to go to war and start killing each other. So I guess for crazy white people like my hairdresser and David Starkey, every cloud does have a silver lining. But surely, I mean, I'm not an economist, but surely it's more efficient to get us to kill each other en masse than to pay the police to do it one at a time. It's a basic cost-benefit analysis right there.